How are you, everyone? So many things are going on, right? So many dramas are going on. They changed our bright space section name, and then my method isn't working, and then they dropped you entirely from the class, and then re-enrolling you to the new section. Like, I have no idea why they are doing this. Something probably happened, but everything will be fixed. In this week, everything will be fixed. Okay, so just hang in there. After this week, if you still have any problem, let us know. So this week will be a bad week. Don't worry about that. I extended all the homework they till next week, Monday midnight. So they told us that it will be fixed by today. If it's fixed by today, then you're okay. But if it's not fixed by today, no problem. Definitely it will be fixed by this week. So you still have weekend to do the homework.
Homework includes that, the quizzes, right?
Homework and quiz. And whatever happened there, it doesn't bother with our exam. So our exam definitely will be next class. Not tomorrow, but on Thursday. So whatever we are going to do here today, our exam will be up to that point. So since tomorrow you don't have any class, so you don't have enough practice with the materials, whatever questions you have, just ask me during class. And if you still have any problem, if you don't understand anything, ask your PLTL leaders tomorrow. I told them tomorrow to go over the review sheet. Do all of you have the review sheet, guys? Did you download the one I posted? You printed out? Is there anybody who needs the review sheet? Okay, then I will send an email, but probably you are dropped from the class. Send me an email, okay? Send me an email saying you need the review sheet. Send me an email because I don't know whether they're in the class or not. They dropped everyone and then re-enrolling one by one. So I don't have your information. No, if you have downloaded somewhere or if you print it out, like if you have the access to the review sheet. If you don't have the access and if you want the review sheet, please email me. Oh, I should give you my email address now. In case if you don't have the syllabus. No problem. So my email, jannah.shahera@gmail.com. Okay, shoot me an email here if you need the review sheet. If you don't need the review sheet, it's okay.
And is there any tips for the exam?
Study the review sheet very well. The exam is based on the review sheet. As long as you know your materials on the review sheet, you're fine. Okay. Plus, you don't have MyMathLab access, so you cannot do extra practice, right? You can search on Google with the topic like finding domain for rational, domain for square root function, like those topics, or finding domain from a graph, range of a graph. Like if you like whatever topic you need help with, you need extra practice, search Google. Since you don't have MyMathLab access.
Just to be absolutely certain, because you can't go on the MyMathLab to see exact different sections. The test on Thursday goes from
3.2 to 4 something.
4.1, which was like domain and range. Right?
So we are going to finish domain and range today,
Okay.
and that will conclude our chapter 3, and then we'll start chapter 4. And in chapter 4, I'm going to teach only 3 things today. Finding mostly actually 2 things. Solving system of equation using substitution method and elimination method. The word problems I'm going to skip today. We're going to do word problem after the exam.
So it's just 4.1.
4.1 to 3. 4.5 is the word problem. Except 4.5, everything else. because I don't think we are going to finish word problem today. It was posted on Brightspace. So if we have access to the Brightspace, you can see the revision there. But if you don't have the access to the Brightspace, that means you don't have the review sheet if you did not download it before. Okay. So if you need the review sheet, email me. This is my email. And the review sheet is based on our lecture materials. So it doesn't have any answer, doesn't have any solution. Why not? Because everything here we are doing is the review sheet. The solution to the review sheet questions are in your lecture notes. Okay. Any question before we start? Comments, concern, complaint? So many complaints, but not for me, right? I'm not doing anything on my Matlab Brightspace. The email I received, I forward to Rahman, and then he's kind of annoyed, like, I only give the answer to you. I'm like, oh, I didn't even read the email. It's on me. But anyway, so just be patient, okay? Whatever problem you're facing, it's only for this week. After this week, everything's supposed to be solved. If it doesn't get solved, no problem, let us know.
You didn't email us, right? No.
No.
Okay, got it.
Because I don't have the access to the email. Right? I see my old, in like S3.6 is our section, and nobody is in there anymore. So now we have a new section, SE3A, and they are putting every one of you one by one in that new section. They're enrolling me. So I supposed to have 25 or 30 students. There I saw only a couple of them. So they're still enrolling you guys. Okay, no problem. So the last thing we did in our last class was talking about domain of 3 different types of equation. What type of equation is this? Y equals 5x. Linear, so it's a line. What type of line is this? Increasing, decreasing, horizontal, vertical. Which type of line is this?
How do you know if it's linear?
No, actually.
The format. Every linear function has maybe one. Give me 1 second. So every linear what's wrong with the pen? Every linear function has the format y equals mx plus b, or ax plus by equals c, or y equals a number, or x equals a number. So linear equations, these two are increasing, decreasing. This is horizontal, this is vertical, okay? So if you have anything from this four, there is a linear function. Based on what type of linear function, you have different domain and range. So what type of linear function is this? Increasing, decreasing, horizontal, vertical. Really? Really? It's increasing. Y equals mx, our b is 0. There is no b is 0. So this is actually an increasing function, increasing line, because our slope is 5, which is positive. So it's an increasing line. So these two are either increasing or decreasing. This is a horizontal line, and this format is a vertical line. See, y equals only a number, no variable. If you have y equals only a number, this is a horizontal line. In here, it's not only a number, it's number and x. If you have an x, it's between these two. Well, specifically this one, y equals mx. If you don't have a number, it means it will be 0. But you see this line. So what's the domain of this type of line? Domain means x values. So smallest x value to the largest x value. So domain is negative infinity to positive infinity. You don't have to do any math. You can just draw a line and then you can observe the line. The smallest x value is going to the left side. The largest x value is going to the right side. So negative to positive infinity. It means if you replace x with any number and you still get a value by value. This is what it means. And then the next one, what type of equation is the next one? What do you call them? Rational, means fraction. So this is a line. It doesn't have any problem. But when you have a rational, when you have a fraction, we have one problem, right? So only one problem. What problem we have for any type of rational? John, any idea?
Then domain value that cannot.
And how do we figure that out?
Well, 2x minus, so you look at the denominator of
Denominator cannot be what number?
0.
0. That is the only problem rational has. Rational cannot have denominator to be 0. Denominator cannot be 0. So we start from that problem. First step, we identify what type of problem we have. If you do, line doesn't have any problem because it runs everywhere. But rational doesn't run everywhere. It has a problem only on the denominator. The denominator cannot be 0. So what do we have on the denominator? What do we have on the denominator? So that 2x minus 1 definitely cannot be 0. The entire expression, not the x, the entire expression cannot be 0. And now what makes this expression 0? Solve for x.
1.
Good. Solve for x. So we add 1, we get 2x. We don't want that to be 1. And then we divide by 2. So there is one number we definitely cannot substitute our x with. We can substitute x with 0, 1, 2, 3, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. Everything else, there is only one number we cannot use in our x, which is 1/2. So if you look at the number line, from the number line negative to positive infinity, we can substitute any number from the number line, but there's only one number that we definitely cannot substitute, which is 1/2. You can substitute x with anything before 1/2. You can substitute anything after 1/2. But 1/2, we cannot have it in our domain. So we split our domain into two pieces. One is before the 1/2 and one is after the 1/2. How do you write this in double notation? 2? No, what number? 1/2. And then the second half, after 1/2, how do you write it in double notation? The negative infinity to 1/2 is our first interval. And how are you going to write the second interval? 1/2 to infinity. And here we must put parentheses because we are not allowed to use 1/2. Anytime whatever we are not allowed to use, there's parentheses. But you cannot have in your domain or range, it means infinity. Parentheses.
So we have to use the square of 1 because it's to be.
No, parentheses means you cannot use. So see, can you use 1/2? No. So it has to have a parentheses.
but not the
Parentheses
other
means
way.
cannot. Cannot.
If this was y equal 2x minus 1, it would be a linear, right? If there was no x.
Right. If you didn't have the numerator part, then it would be linear. But now the numerator, we don't care. As long as you see a denominator cannot be 0. That's the problem. Denominator cannot be 0. So if you see a denominator in your equation, go from there. Denominator can then be zero. So linear, no problem. Rational has only denominator problem. And now we are going to our last one, which is square root function. So square root is an even number, so we call it even root function. Now, before we go find a domain, let me ask you a few questions. Do we know what is square root of 100? 10. Do we know what is square root of, let's say, 9? 3. Do we know what is square root of 1? 1. Do we know what is square root of 0? It means what number if you multiply twice, the answer is 0. 0. Do we know what is square root of -2? See, it becomes I. It's not real anymore. Do we know, so this is imaginary. Do we know what is square root of 3, -3? Still it's imaginary. So what do you observe? In order to a real number, our inside the square root has to be what? Positive or 0. See, when our inside the square root is positive, so all of these are positive, and this is 0. When we have positive or 0 thing inside the square root, we get something valid. But when it becomes negative, we start having not real number, imaginary numbers. So what's wrong with square root function? What we are allowed to have inside? Positive and 0. So definitely cannot have negative. So we start from that. Whatever we have inside, that inside thing either has to be positive, means bigger than 0, or it can be equal 0. So it doesn't matter what you have. If it's a number or variable or an equation or a function, whatever we have inside the square root, anything inside the square root, that thing has to be either positive or 0. So we start from that condition. Now, what do we have inside our square root? 2x plus 1, right? Now that 2x plus 1 either has to be bigger than 0 or can be equal 0. And now from there, solve for x. Solve for x. Well, how do you solve for x? What do you do? Solve for x means get the epsilon, Mario. Subtract 1 from both sides. So we get 2x has to be bigger than or equal to -1. And then to get the epsilon by 2. So x has to be bigger than or equal to -1/2. What does that mean? Look at the number line. We have negative infinity, positive infinity, and somewhere we have -1/2. Now this is telling us that right here, we're allowed to use x values that is equals to -1/2 or bigger than -1/2. So you cannot apply any number that is smaller than -1/2. For example, -1. If you replace x with -1, what happens inside? 2 times -1 plus 1. What is 2 times -1? -2 plus 1. What is -2 plus 1? -1. And -1 under the square root. Is it real or not real? See? The only thing we can use is starting from -1/2 Everything else bigger than that, we are allowed to use. We are allowed to substitute in our x. We cannot take anything that is smaller than -1/2. So how do you write this in interval notation? Maria. Bracket. -1/2. Infinity parenthesis. So here's our answer. From the entire number line, from infinitely many numbers, there are only half of the numbers we're allowed to use. We can use in our equation.
And so how do that has to be? How do you go x has to be greater than? What instance would x be less than?
So we know inside, whatever we have inside the square root has to be either bigger than 0 or equals to 0, right? So bigger than 0 means positive, equals to 0 means just 0. Now, since it can be equals to 0, look what happens when x is 1/2. When x is 1/2, we have y equals square root of 2 times 1/2 plus 1, right? What is half of 1? So half of 2, 1. So 1 plus 1. Oh, sorry, this is -1 or plus 1. Or -1, my bad. I forgot my negative sign. So this is -1 plus 1. What is -1 plus 1? Square root of 0. And do you know what is square root of 0? 0. So we can use x equals -1 as a positive sign, negative. I missed my negative sign. When x is exactly -1/2, we get that's a 0. And we know square root of 0 is 0, so it does exist. So that's why we can use -1/2. So we are using square root.
So if it was positive 1/2, would it be?
You still have a good number, square root of 2, which is a real number, right?
Yeah.
So as long as you get something real, you're okay. But if you get something not real, like negative number inside the square root, they are not real. So you cannot have them. Okay? So in here is the last 3 questions. These 3. 1 linear, 1 rational, 1 square root.
What would you write like horizontal?
For a horizontal line, what is it doing?
Oh, it's the
Negative infinity to positive infinity. And for vertical line, what would be the domain? The number you have here, right? Because it's only one x value.
also the number you have.
For example, here x equals to 1. See, they already told you x equals 1, only one x value. So only 1. Domain is x value, only x value. And for this type of equation, I'm going to ask only for the domain, not range. Okay? So I'm only telling you what will be in the exam. These 3, and you have to write interval notation. Like this.
We get that the brackets normally 2 points.
Here you cannot use bracket because you cannot use 1/2. So the trick is for rational, use parentheses. Okay? Rational parentheses because we cannot use some number. But for square root, it has to be bracket because we are allowed to use our ending, our end point. But for rational, we cannot use the end point. But then you have y square. You're not looking for y squared from 1. The function has a y in one side, not y squared. Okay? So you cannot, you're solving it, you're finding what x values you can plug in here. This is what you're looking for. What x values here we can plug in. Any other question? No? So you're done in chapter 3. Now from the review sheet, let me tell you what will be from chapter 3. Review sheets. From 3.2 to 3.3, I have graph by finding and plotting x and y intercept. So one of these where you're going to find x-intercept, y-intercept, slope, and graph. One question is 4 parts. How do you find x-intercept? y0. Whatever you are finding, you have to keep it. So if you find x-intercept, y has to be 0. And then solve for x. How do you find y-intercept? x0. And then solve for y. How do you find slope if you don't see the slope? Like for example here, do you see the slope? So what can you do to see the slope? Good job. Solve for y. So that you can have y equals mx plus b. That m in front of your x is the slope. And then this graph. So plot the x-axis on the x-intercept, y-intercept on the y-axis, and then find it. So one of them. And this is also finalism question. You'll see this in the final. Definitely one here. And this is also finalism question. Definitely this one. And this is also finalism question. 4, 5 goes with 1. Okay. 1 and 4, 5 is a combination. X-intercept, y-intercept, slope, and graph. They all are combined. So 4, 5 plus question 1. They're together. I would love to give you this one. So your line will be given. You just have to find its equation. Which format? I'm not sure. Maybe both format or only one format. Find the equation of the line that goes to 2 points. Find the equation of the line, its slope, and 1 point. This is also final. Find the slope of the horizontal and vertical line. Sorry, find the slope of the parallel and perpendicular line. Equation, maybe if I have space. From 14, 8 of them. And then here you have 3 points each. First, you're going to graph whatever situation is given. Second, you're going to find the slope. And then you're going to find the equation. So this is 1 point, this is 1 point, this is 1 point. 3 points for one question. And you're going to have around 8 of them. So 8 times 3, 24, almost 24 questions in question 14.
14.
Now, these are fun questions, around 5 to 7. Which of these graphs represent function? So all you have to do is draw a line through the graph and then you answer. For example, this is no. Why? Because of the vertical line, intersect twice. This one is yes. Why? Because of the vertical intersection. So you don't have to answer why. You can just draw the graph, draw the vertical line, and then you'll find. So 1 point each. Which of these represent a function? 3 to 6. 2 points each. 1 point is y, and 1 point is yes or no. For example, is this a function? So no. Why? Huh? Y has even power. So this is 1 point, this is 1 point. So you're not doing any math, you're just telling me the reason. 17, 18, 19, 1, and this is final answer.
Zero questions, so the next question is why I'm using power.
Right. If there is no y or y is an even power, it's not a function. So we don't care about x. X can have anything, but y is not free. Y is dependent. I'll say which of the following equations represent function and state your reason. And then I'll give you A, B, C, like that. And then I'll give you two blank. In one of them, you're going to write yes or no. And then next one, why? Why it's yes, why it's no.
Do we need an explanation or just simply yes?
That's blank.
Okay.
Like if it's yes, because y has add power. If it's no, because y has even power. That's it. Only these two lines. Who raised their hand here? Someone? No? Okay, so from 17, 18, 19, one of them. Most likely something with fractions. Because department loves fraction. But just because you see a fraction, remember, try to cancel the denominator. So the fraction will cancel out.
It's one question each or just one?
One from three. Because they all are same thing. Evaluate your function somewhere. Domain range from the graph. At least three. Could be more, but three. And for here, you're going to find domain and range. Both of them. So you're not doing any math, you're just observing how far left and right your x is going and how up or down your y is going. That's how you find domain and range. And we just did number 21, 3 questions. All 3. Just the functions will be different. Whatever you have here, inside, those will be different, but the exact same things. Okay. And now my point is to do chapter 4. And chapter 4, all you have to do is this question. Question 23. We are going to solve the system of equations and you are going to learn first 2 methods. And if you have time, then the third method. Okay. So that's all you have to know from chapter 4. The one problem, I would like to spend my time on it. So it will not be in this exam. It will be in the next exam. Okay. Any question for me? Go up on the very first page. So question 1 and then 3, 4, no, 4, 5. Combining 1 and 4, 5, I'm going to ask these 4 questions. Find the x-intercept, find the y-intercept, find the slope, and then graph the line. It's a line going down. The domain is still negative to positive infinity. So increasing or decreasing, it doesn't matter. It's always negative to positive infinity because the line is going up forever on the left and on the right. But when you have a horizontal line, it's still negative to positive infinity. So all 3, they have domain negative to positive infinity because they are function. On the other hand, this is not a function. This is just a vertical line. Its domain is only one number. Whatever number you have x equals, that is domain. You. Not you, you have people, right?
How much time will we get on that?
Entire class time. But I'm going to start 1:45. Okay. So come at 1:45. And I'm going to leave exactly at 2:30. Okay. So if you come late, you're just losing your 15 minutes. But the exam won't be that long for, like I gave this exam for 1 hour 15-minute class and they completed it. So for you, it should be fine. You have 1 hour 30 minutes, right? No, 1 hour 45 minutes. Yeah, so you'll be fine. Any other question?
On Thursday, right now, Friday.
No, not Friday, Thursday. It says Friday?
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. It was from my last semester and I had class Fridays. I forgot to change that. Okay, chapter 4. From chapter 4, in the final answer, we are going to take 3 questions. What time is it? Chapter 4 talks about system of equations. It means we have not one line, but 2 lines. How we are going to find the solution if we are working with 2 lines? So we have 2 methods. We have 3 methods. Graphing. We graph them and see where they intersect, which is undeniable method. So before we go and introduce you to the methods, first let me tell you what you're looking for. Probably not. If not, then I'll upload them tonight. Okay, so when we have one line, we look for x-intercept, y-intercept, or slope. But when you have 2 lines, the only thing we look at is where they are intersecting. That's it. This is the solution of system of equations. Where 2 lines are intersecting one another. So when you have 2 lines, there are 3 scenarios. Either 2 lines, they're intersecting once. So they're going somewhere and then they are crossing one another only once in their life. So we have one solution. Or the 2 lines we have, they are parallel line. So they'll never intersect one another. They will never cross one another's life. So we have no solution because they never cross one another. Or the third possibility is that the 2 lines we have, they look different, but actually they are the same line. So they're crossing one another their entire life. So we have infinitely many solutions. So there are 3 choices. No solution means parallel line. Infinite solutions mean the same line. And the normal one is one solution. They cross one another only once. Now, if you have a solution, either one solution or three solution. If you have a solution, we call them consistent system because they have some type of solution. And if you don't have a solution, we call them inconsistent system. I'm teaching you this because on my method, there are some questions. These 2 pairs are this consistent system or inconsistent system. So if you have no idea what consistent, inconsistent, you may not be able to do this homework. So consistent means they have a solution. Inconsistent means they don't have a solution. And the next one, let's say you have a system of equations, linear equations, and they gave you one choice. And they ask you to determine whether that solution is actually a real solution of these 2 system equations. So how do you figure that out? All you have to do is substitute your x and y in both equations. If the left side equals right side, then yes, the order pair they give you is a solution. Otherwise, not. Okay? And that's how we actually check our solution. Once you solve your system of equations, you substitute into both of them and see if the left side equals right side. If they are, then it's a solution. If they are not, then it's not a solution. The solution is not a real solution, it's just extraneous solution. So one is the example. We have 2 lines, and they want us to figure out whether -5, -1 is a solution for this system equation. Okay. So this is from homework. All you have to do is check your order pair by substituting into both of them. So first one is 3x minus 2y equals -13. And your second system is x plus 3y equals -3. They are telling us, you're going to do this. So x is -5, y is -1, -5, -1, -5, -1. Our goal is to see for this one, is the right side -13. So let's see. What do you get? 3 times -5. -15. And then we have -2 times -1. +2. And then -15 plus 2. -13. Do you have the same number on the left side and the right side? So this equation is satisfied. How about the next one? We have -5 and then 3 times -1. What is 3 times -1? What is 3 times -1? -3. And what is -5 minus 3? -8. Do we have the same number? No, right? So is -5, -1 a solution for this system of equation? Not a solution. So when we solve system of equations, we are actually supposed to check, because sometimes when you solve, you do get a number, but when you plug them back, it doesn't work. That's why I try to check your solution always. Now I'm going to skip graphing method. It's the most useless method. It will be useful if you have a whole number as answer. But let's say if your answer is -5/3 for x and 7/9 for y. How can you figure that out from graphing? So I find this is most useless method. So let me skip that. Instead, let's go to substitution. It's called substitution because we are going to substitute one variable with an entire equation. And substitution method is easier to use when you already have a variable alone on one side. For example, here, the first equation is 3x minus 2y equals 7. And the second equation, x equals y plus 3. So x is already alone. So anytime you have your x already alone, substitution you can use easily. So what do? That x equals y plus 3, we're going to substitute y plus 3 in the first equation instead of x. So we're not going to write this x. Instead of this x, we are going to write 3 blank minus 2y7. And since x is the entire thing, y plus 3, so we are going to write that here, y plus 3. That's why this method is called substitution. So step 1, get one variable alone if it's not already alone. If it's already alone, then you just substitute that equation for that variable into the other equation. And then all you have to do is simplify. So what is our first step to simplify this? Distribute. And what do you get? 3y plus 9, and then we have minus 2y equals 7. Now, what's next? Yes, subtract 9, no problem. And how about the y's? 3y minus 2y, how many y's we have? Y. And since we subtracted 9 from both sides, what is 7 minus 9? -2. See, we already found half of our solution. Y is -2. Great. We already know our y, so we are going to substitute that here to get the x. So we know x is y plus 3. But you already know our y. Y is -2, so it's -2 plus 3. What is -2 plus 3? 1. So this is the first half, and we already found the second half. So solution, we write them as a pair x, y. X is 1, y is -2. And then you check. You substitute into both equations and see whether the left side and right side are same. Let me skip checking since you don't have much time. Instead, try doing these two. So from here, you're going to have 2 questions in the final exam, definitely. 2. And then 1 will be from what problem? So from chapter 4, 3 problem in the final exam. 2 from solution, solve them, and 1 is what problem. So go ahead, enjoy BNC. You don't have to work alone. You can talk to neighbors. They have more. Oh, I have 3 of them. A, B, C. Enjoy. Oh, actually, before you do them, let me introduce you to elimination first, so that you have the entire class time to practice. Now, for elimination has another name called addition. It's called addition because we're going to add 2 lines, and it's called elimination because we are going to eliminate 1 variable from 2 variables. For example, here we have x minus 3y equals -17 and 3x plus 2y equals 4. Our goal is to eliminate either x or the y, one of them. Now, depending on your choice, you proceed with your steps. For example, I would like to get rid of my x. So in order to get rid of the x, we have to have the same coefficient with the opposite sign. But the first x is coefficient 1, the second x is coefficient 3. We cannot cancel them, right? Unless we do something. What can we do here so that the 1x will turn into -3x? What do we do? Multiply by -3. If you multiply the entire equation by -3, we get -3x, +9y. What is 3 times 17? Let me refresh your memory with the multiplication. When you multiply, you start from the right side. 3 times 7. What is 3 times 7? 21. So you write 1 on the bottom, you write 2 on the top as an addition. And then 3 times 1. What is 3 times 1? 3. And then you add the 2. 5. So the first line, x minus 3y equals -17, turns into -3x plus 9y equals 51. We're not going to change anything on the second line. So 3x plus 2y equals 4. And then we are going to add them. When you add the 2 equations, what happens to the x's? -3x and +3x cancel out. So we eliminated our x. No more x. So what do we have? Y's. How many y's? 11y equals 55. So divide by 11. So our y is 5. See how easy it was? We eliminate, in order to eliminate one variable, you need to add the 2 equations. But to add, the condition is they have to have the same number in the front with opposite sign. So if you don't have them, do something to your multiplication to have them. But if you already have them, all you have to do is add them, so they'll cancel out. So we have the solution. We still need another half. So for another half, we actually do the substitution. So this method should call actually elimination substitution. We should call them, but they call them only elimination. So to find the x, you go back into one of the equations and substitute. I prefer the first one because our x is alone. So x minus 3y equals negative 17. Let's add the 3y. So x will be 3y minus 17. But how much is the y? What did you find? Y equals 5. So what do you have? 15 minus 17, negative 2. So in the first method we eliminated, in the first part we eliminated, in the second part we substituted. And that's how we get the solution, negative 2, positive 5. Who is confused? Anybody? Okay, then you practice. Oh, before that, let me show you one more method. One more method, like one more question, where we have to multiply both equations by something. For example, let's do this one, but using elimination. I mean, using eliminating y's instead of x. So this one, we're supposed to have x and y next to one another. Do you have that x and y next to one another? We don't have it, so we are going to add the 5y to both sides. And we don't need the 15, so we're going to subtract 15 from both sides. So basically putting x and y next to one another and the number alone on the other side. So x plus 5y equals negative 15. We are moving 15 from left to the right, so sign changes. We are moving negative 5y from the right to the left, so sign changes. And this one stays same, 3x minus 2y equals 22. And the last one, we eliminated x, but in this one, let's say for some reason, we decided to eliminate y, not x. We don't have the same number in front of y, right? We have a different number, but at least they have opposite sign, so you don't have to worry about the signs. Now, what number you can have in front of y, so that if we add them, they will cancel out. 10. Both of them, 5 and 2, they have a common multiple 10. So we want to have 10 in front of y. So we have to multiply this entire equation by 2. And multiply this equation by 5. We can, but I'm showing you that sometimes we have to multiply both equations instead of one equation. So in this situation, yes, it's easy by getting rid of x. But in life, you face some situation where you have to multiply both of them. No problem. So that gives us 2x plus 10y. So from here equals negative 30. And then we have 15x minus 10y. 5 times 17. How much? 115? 3 times 5 is 15. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 1 is 11. Good, 115. How did you know? Incredible. And then you add them.
That means have I like any number?
Any number as long as they have the same number in the front. So here we picked, here we know it's 10 because 5 times 2 is 10.
But it was -2, but we multiply by 2.
If you multiply by, oh, we want to have the same number with opposite sign. So they already have opposite sign. One is plus, one is minus.
So only way to cancel it out.
If they have plus and minus sign. So if both of them are plus, then one of them has to be minus.
So we multiply by
Negative. Right. Here I did not multiply by negative because I don't have to. One of the y is positive and one of the y is negative. So if we add them, automatically they cancel out. Plus 10y and minus 10y is 0. But let's say you have plus 5y and plus 2y, then you have to multiply one of them by negative. Either the first one by -2 or second one by -5. One of them has to be negative. Okay, so when you add them, no more y's. How many x's we have? 17 of them. And on the other side, 115 minus 30. 85? I'm trusting you. So to get the epsilon, divide by 17. And now the question is 17 goes to 85 how many times? 5 times? You sure? Okay, I'm trusting you. So if it's wrong, it's your fault, not mine, okay? I didn't check. So we found one solution. What do you do to get the other solution? The half of the solution? Plug it into any one of them. Which one do you think is easier to work with? The top one? Okay. So we take this, we have x plus 15 is -5y. So let's keep it and then substitute. This is 5 plus 15 is -5y. 5 15 gives us 20 is -5y. And then to get the y alone, we divide by -5. So y is -4. So solution is 5 -4. Personally, I like elimination because we can eliminate and then work with only one variable. But it's up to you. Whether you want to use substitution or elimination, I'm not going to specify that in the exam. I'll just let you to decide. Any question? Okay, then try this one first, and then we're going to do the 3 problem. You want me to show you one fraction?
Yeah.
Okay. Try this one, and then I'll show you one fraction. Where's the sign-in sheet? Did anybody sign it? Everybody did? Wow. 22. It's minus equals. We have 0 on one side and negative on the other side. Is 0 and negative the same number? So it's a false, right? So when you put a false, what do you think the solution is? Well, interesting.
Thank you.
You need to take one number. One first, which would you want? X. Well, if you multiply the two what the this is 16 and on that one on the second one you don't take our meaning to take the same number of rows for them. So instead of multiplying by two, if you want, let's say you want X to so one of them is 8. So let's same variable what so multiply by 2 doesn't help. Maybe it's a function 4, 5. And this is really too much. Do you see the side flexes all four plus 3 minus and then another here 4 plus you saw minus so which one keep on? So she's trying to take
Most likely.
if you try to use elimination, want you to multiply the second equation by
-2.
-2. So this stays same. 8x plus 6y equals 0. And this becomes -8x. Minus 6y equals -8. And then when you add 8x cancel out, 6y cancel out. So what is left on the left side? No, the left side has a 0 because everything canceled out. But what do you on the right side? -8. It's 0 and negative are the same number. Is 0 equals -8? Is it? No, it's false. And anytime in our life, if you bump into anything false, That means something is wrong, right? So this false is telling us there is no solution. Something is wrong here.
Does that mean the lines are parallel?
Exactly. So if you observe that actually 4x plus 6y equals 0, and this is 4, sorry. If you divide this by -2, so by positive 2, you have 4x, 3y equals 0, and 4x, 3y equals 4. See, they have the same x and y coefficient. The coefficient, the constant are different. So that tells us these lines are parallel lines. The constant are different, everything else are same. So anytime you solve something and then you have two different numbers on both sides of the equal sign, it makes no solution. But sometimes you'll bump into a situation where you have 0 equals 0. Is 0 equals 0, is this true or false? True. If you have a true, but there is no variable left, the answer is infinite solution. There is no variable left. They are the same line. So whatever line is here, you have another line on the top of it. So that's why we have the true statement, but there is no variable. True statement with no variable means infinite solution. False statement with no variable is no solution. Okay, so two scenario. Either something true means infinite, something false means no solution. Any question? Let me show you one with fraction. So we are going to do these three. Let me do C. So just because you see a fraction, don't get scared. They're same. Okay, let me change something. What time is it? 5. Okay. Let's say this one is. Then we have. Let me do it here. We have 3x 5y minus 3. So 3x minus 5y is 3. Let's say this is 4. This is 20. So this will be 4, 5. Yeah. I think it should be fine. So I'm going to do C now. And then you're going to do NB. So since it's a fraction and you don't like fraction, so you have two choices. Either keep your fraction, substitute, or just get rid of the fraction from the beginning. Okay, it's your choice. So what do you prefer? Keep your fraction, work with it, or just get rid of the fraction? Okay, so second line doesn't have any fraction. We're not going to do anything on the second line. The first line has a fraction. So let's start with the first line. Y equals 3/5 x minus 3. We don't care about anything else. The only thing we don't like is the 5 on the denominator. So how do you get rid of the 5 on the denominator? We need to multiply here, also here, and also there. So multiply all three things with the denominator. So there will be no denominator. We have 5y equals 3x minus 15. And now since we got to the denominator. As a result, y is not alone anymore. So instead of using substitution method, let's try to use elimination method. In order to use elimination method, we want x and y next to one another. Okay? The number should be alone, but x and y, they have to be next to one another. So what do we do next? If you want x and y next to one another, we can subtract 3x from both sides. So we get negative 3x plus 5y equals 15. So this is an equation with no fraction and no problem. Now let's compare this with the second equation. Our second equation is positive 3x minus 5y equals 15. Right? So you have two choices. Either add them together. If you do add them together, negative 3x, positive 3x, what happens to the x's? Y cancel out, so we have 0. And what do on the other side? 0. Is this true or false? True. So true means what? Infinite solution. Or you can do one more thing. We have negative 3x plus 5y equals negative 15. And we are comparing that with 3x minus 5y equals positive 15. Now they look almost same, right? The only difference is their signs are different. So let's multiply this by negative 1. So the turn into negative 3x plus 5y equals negative 15. And the second line turns into negative 3x plus 5y equals negative 15. What do you observe the two equations? They are the same line. And what's the solution for same line? Infinite solution. So either compare them, whether they're same or different, they're same line, that means infinite solution, or add them and you see what numbers you have on both sides of the equal sign. So in the final exam, they'll ask me 2 of these. One of them will have either no solution or infinite solution, definitely. And the other one will have unique solution, like one x value, one y value. Now you try and B and C and see what do you have. Here is B. So they cancel out your 10 equals 20. 10 equals 20, so no solution. It could not, because they cancel out. If one of the variables cancel out, that means the other variable was having.
Thank you.
So let me give you a few more. From give me 1 second. Let me open test this. Yeah. Okay, try these two also. Who is help? Why? That is halfway to the bar. So cancel for it. No, 2 goes to 4 how many times? Twice. So you have so 4 you have to check 5. That is 2 times 5. And then you want x and y together. So we want x and y next to one another. Here's we can make it back to the very last. B is the solution. C, let me see. For the C?
Yes.
Oh, which one do you want? Oh, get where does So wanted to get rid of the fraction. You take the original question, y equals 4 over 5x. Oh no, right? You could almost find the whole thing by 1 number. And you'll get. You get what? What's 5 times 5? 5 times 5.
Oh, 5-1.
5 times, so you will have 5.
Just restart. Yeah.
Number 5 times 4 or 5.
Zero, zero.
5 times y is What are you doing?
Minus 6 minus.
Oh, that's what I know. Okay.
Yes, and I can take the other,
So
take that,
one
the
has
second question.
I plus 4 minus 5 y plus 4 and 2 minus 6.
Now.
So 1 of 6 is like 2.
Track.
So choose a compensation. So point is distribute the 5. So you 5 on the top and the bottom. So you can 4. So why is it 24 or 25? Something on the top, something on the bottom. Anytime you cancel that. Everyone can cancel. And you distribute the amount the numerator. That's what you want.
4.
So it's
So
only
this is out.
20 over 5. Not 20 over 20.
And then
20 over.
Because you're having 4.
Now, what is the question solution? Connect the light source with
Four. 3. And then for the 5, 2, we'll cut across to get some global cross. That's 1 minus 2.
Yes.
Okay, so the side.
Cancellation doesn't care sign, but after once you cancel everything, then you lose the sign.
Yeah. Which is the other two, right? The other two.
Which method?
Yeah. Third one.
Why am I this is the original? Yeah. You can write one more like that. I don't know what that's
No, I don't know, and like, I'm a lot of competitions to do that.
So if the left side was the right side, then you have increase this one. But if you have two different numbers.
Yeah, this is.
Oh, no. We did the circle.
Four and two x 2 and 2
Yeah. Yeah. You're supposed to multiply I multiply by one.
That's all I got. Girl, I'm not going for my dad's phone.
Negative y times one. Oh, so so exactly. Yeah. That would give you -2 when you cross that line.
Six will give you the negative 3.
Exactly. So zero.
No, the last is. Oh, I see.
The last one.
I want to know a solution except and kitty guys in the house. He's in here, right? The fake kid is talking about
I just and that 2x minus 2x.
-6x, right?
It's negative. Everyone add two different numbers. Okay, that's all for today, guys. Good luck with your exam. And whatever question you have, make sure to ask your PLT leaders tomorrow. Okay? And if you need any help, email me in my Gmail. So, study smart. I only told you what will be in the exam. This one, the answer is no solution. This is no solution. This one is infinite solution. And this one is no solution. Okay, so three of them no solution, one of them is infinite solution.